Mentally prepared for it, you could die. Fit, if you can't swim 2 miles through rough, broken ocean, and you can't take care of yourself, you can't hold your breath for 90 seconds under duress, you have no business being out there. Part of surfing is wiping out. It's inevitable. I don't care how good you are, eventually you're going to wipe out. To get a wave 20 feet high, you have to have like a 60-foot base. If you want to get a wave 40 feet high, you're going to have like a 90-foot base. It's not like just twice the number. It's a square volume. I mean, you're talking about a lot of water. To get a 85-foot base, you're talking probably almost a 300-foot base. 300-foot swell coming through the ocean, moving at 50 miles an hour. Personal watercrafts can't even outrun them in open ocean. Waves of that magnitude move so fast, and you can't even keep up with them. Everything's so accelerated. The issue is, how fast am I traveling? Do I have the strength in my legs to keep the board in the water? Do I have the strength in my body to keep my rail in the water? It's a real physical sport. It has to be a team of 2 extremely experienced big wave riders to make up a team of professional tow surfers. Both of them have to be competent at both disciplines. You have to be as good as you could ever imagine being to rescue somebody in an impact zone of a 40-foot wave. And you have to have absolutely every faculty required. So these 2 people need to work together all the time to become really comfortable in the circumstances. And eventually, that personal watercraft's going to go down, and you're both going to be swimming. And it's still a machine. It can break down. It has mechanical failures. Or if you make a human error, I mean, it happens. All of a sudden now there's a whole world out there that's so big, easily twice as tall as Waimea, rides 5 times longer. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new realm. And anybody that say that tow surfing is not surfing, they have not a clue to what they're saying. It's the epitome of performance surfing in giant surf. definition of tow surfing should be accessing waves that you can't paddle into normally. You could completely eliminate one element of surfing. Paddling. You don't have to paddle anymore. Now with personal watercraft, we access waves with no paddling at all. Tow surfing is only the beginning. You're only seeing the beginning. That's why I'm so interested in how it's perceived and how it's executed, because this is what the future holds. You're seeing the very beginning of the future of surfing. It's just starting. To ride giant surf takes experience. It's not a young man's sport. This is something that people grow into. Once you get used to surfing 8-foot surf as a professional surfer, you'll grow into like 12-foot surf and then 15-foot surf. And that's what happens, the natural progression. Surfing is an amazing sport. It's so physical, but it's also so mental. Mental preparation is so much part of it. As long as you can keep yourself physically fit and mentally prepared, I don't know where the ceiling is. Well, I'm 49 now, and I have no problem. I see, I'm going to try for another 10 years. I really am. As long as I keep my passion up, my physical capacity up, and my mental ability to stay focused and stay driven, I don't know if there's an immediate end. I mean, it'd be interesting to watch the world look at us all when we're all like 45 to 55, and that's who actually rides the biggest waves in the world. I love the personal challenge. You have to believe in yourself, and when you come back from that experience, you are so enriched and so fulfilled that all the other things in life don't seem as important to what I live for. Fear is the unknown. If you know what you're facing, there's less and less fear. To where there is no fear. It's just consequence, reward. So where's the fear? If you know enough and you had enough experience, fear is removed. You know what you're facing, you know what you're doing, you know how to get out of it, you know how to get into it. There's no fear. Fear is a state of mind. The only way you're going to access waves over 40 feet is to be towed in. So this obsession with riding, 80-foot faces, it's been around for a long time. We were going sometimes 40 miles an hour plus and just trying to hang in there to stay ahead of the mountain behind us. And as soon as the mountain starts hitting the reef, yeah, the mountain starts slowing down. Drags and stands up taller and taller and taller till it's so steep that you can let go of the rope. Big wave surfing has so much value. It's so dramatic. It's so exciting to see a man ride a wave that's 10, 15 stories tall. The world just is hungry. Where can man go? What is the next Everest? Who's going to ride the big wave? Wouldn't you want to see it? This is a constant rescue procedure from beginning to end. You pick the guy up, it's a rescue, you're picking him up. Whether he's doing a water start, where you use the rope and he just picks up the rope and goes, or you do actually a rescue from after a wipeout, or he's lost his surfboard. We're risk technicians. We understand the risks, we identify the risks, we try to figure out a scenario to avoid the hazard. This is Formula One racing. This sport could grow so far past the conception of most surfers. Tow surfing could be the future of surfing in the big picture. There's a lot of talk about the 100-foot wave. If you're measuring trough to crest, it's possible. It's definitely possible. So we'll have a 100-foot day there someday. I just hope it happens in my lifetime.
Unfortunately, tow surfing is limited. You may only get a few handful of days in a year. It's not a cheap sport. It costs $40 a go out, and the machines cost up to $10,000. Not mentioning your trailer and keeping it legal with your licensing and whatnot. And the partnership is probably like the most important aspect of the whole tow and team thing because your survival is your other half. Prior to the session, you really want to try to find a peace of mind, where you can just sort of relax. It's important not to have a whole lot of unnecessary stuff on your mind, and you can just concentrate on the actual surf. When it's 20, 25 feet, there are just a handful of guys that really want it. The right conditions, the right board, all the elements come together. You could also die trying to do it too, If you cannot access some of these really difficult places because of channels or rocks or areas or distance or temperature, you minimize your exposure to all these problems because now you have accessibility. The future is tow surfing. Personal watercrafts used correctly in a mature, rational manner, accessing every kind of wave imaginable. Dan Moore, my partner, used to paddle with me in those outer reefs. That's why I knew he was the guy for the job, because he could take it. We're trying to create a curriculum of requirements before people are allowed to come out there. But all the people that are going to follow us, because we make it look easy, I wish more people would take that same responsibility to themselves before they do tow surfing. I think the danger comes when somebody thinks that they can do something that they really can't, and their body's not prepared to go through what they're going to put them into.
Big wave riding and drama is hand in glove, you know. It's certainly going to happen to you if you push the limits, you know.
Near death is something that everyone's going to go through in surfing big waves.
Dangerous, and it gets really heavy, and every one of us it takes the physical part of your body right to the very extreme of life, you know, to survive. The only reason that a lot of people haven't died is because it's only relatively new, and there's not a lot of guys doing it.
Ultimately, though, if you're riding a wave that's 30, 40 feet, you're really at the mercy of that wave. You can do all the training in the world. You can be the fittest guy in the world. You eat perfect, whatever. If it's your time and you wipe out bad on a huge, huge wave, you can be killed at any time. You know, I think all of us know that in the back of our mind, that if you make a bad mistake on a really big wave, it could be the end of your life, really. And if you're not willing to kind of come to terms with that, then I don't think you should be on a wave that big.
It all comes down to the cojones. I mean, reality is it comes down to who's got the in their guts, who's got it. So it doesn't matter if it's a little guy or big guy.
Life's on the line, like I keep saying. It's scary, and you'd be stupid not to be scared.
Everybody who has one really bad wipeout and walks away will put their whole ocean existence in perspective, because nobody wants to die.
You know, every time I go surfing in big waves, I mean, every time I surf, there's a little bit of fear. And what I think that fear does is to scare you straight.
I wish I had no fear.
I don't think it's healthy at all. I hate fear. I don't like having any fear. So, you know, I don't know how it works or how I channel it, because I mean, I do, but it's like, if it was up to me, I'd have no fear at all.
I think methodically, logically. I also, you know, listen to my instinct, but I also, you know, you do have those emotions. You try to not be scared, but be cautious. There's a big difference between those two.
Fear is something that that I think we all live with, but we all tend to fear different things. For myself, I relish on adrenaline, and I relish on the fact of enjoying high endurance, high energy sports. So I don't really suffer from fear there. I suffer more from fear from the smaller, petty things in life.
You know, it's like in the past, from my 20s to 30s, I was fearless, completely fearless, and uncalculated maniac. I'd take off on anything regardless of what had happened. Since I've turned 30, I've definitely become more calculated. Turning that fear into a joy factor is the thing that I've learned to do, I guess. Big wave can kill you, and something can kill you, I guess it's dangerous.
I grew up here in Half Moon Bay.
my father out here, and my father brought me out here, and we finally moved here in 1966. And we built a house on the beach in Miramar. And from our house, you could see Mavericks and the harbor and all the giant waves that broke on the reefs out there. Once I got hooked on the water, that was my playground. Growing up right there on the beach, it became the place I went to every day. I had the mindset of, I want to surf the biggest waves I could possibly find. Mavericks has become one of the biggest waves on the planet. It's thick, it's 50 degrees. If you're coming from Hawaii, where you don't have to wear one of these thick rubber suits and all of a sudden put in one of the quickest big waves on the planet, it's not for everybody. The effects tow surfing has had on surfing is that for 10 grand, guys that can't paddle surf can now play the 20-foot surfing game. It's changed surfing. It's changed the way I look at 25-foot waves. Now they're accessible.
Jeff and I came together to be tow partners this year. The knowledge I had and his great wave knowledge decided to be a perfect marriage. My style of tow surfing comes from a bunch of different sports. I used to compete windsurfing a lot, and dealing with straps is definitely not foreign to me. And wakeboarding and kite surfing is definitely on another playing field. It's been pretty awesome. It's a combination of different styles. It really takes in all these different sports and combines it for one big rush. Just basically all searching for the same thing, is getting that perfect ride.
Tow surfing is definitely a level beyond where we've been in surfing. What it all comes down to is how good and experienced are you in reading waves? And then having Mavericks break 40, 50 times every year. We've really caught up with the tow-in game worldwide, just because we have the accessibility to a giant wave all winter long. It's not everybody's cup of tea, you know. One man's ceiling is another man's floor. I surf big waves because I love the thrill of the power and the challenge of the ocean. Now we're riding waves 25, 30 feet, waves we never thought we could ride. This is really serious. You just don't make mistakes in waves like that.
Growing up in Hawaii, or growing up anywhere around a surf culture, you have, it's like an innate respect for the ocean.
The ocean is an entity that also is for us like a living entity. The ocean breathes and lives, you know, and there's a lot of life and there's a lot of color in the ocean. When we are in the ocean, we don't see just the surface of the ocean. You know, we see far beyond. The ocean is a place of enjoyment and getting away from all the chaos. When you're out there, you just exist. You become one with the ocean. Being a waterman is someone who has a respect of the ocean, which means having the knowledge of the ocean. Not just the knowledge, but having the ability to utilize that knowledge. Now you can go out there and you can deal with whatever situation. You know the creation and the cause and the effect of what the ocean will do. In surfing, you need more mental power than physical power because the mind controls the body. I think being physically fit makes you more mentally ready. When you're on that wave, no one else exists. You know, it's pure and primal. For whatever happens, you better have that spiritual belief that you will come up. If you get held under for 2 waves, well, surfers will go just, wow, that's bad. If you get held under for 3 waves, most surfers have said the guy's gonna die. 4 waves, they said the guy's guaranteed dead. The intervals between waves is anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds, and we can hold our breaths for like 3 minutes. You tell yourself that it's possible to survive, then you can train for that. You need 5 components of yourself. Speed to outrun that wave, you know, or to match the power of the surf. Strength to hold back danger. You need agility to outmaneuver that danger or that situation. You need flexibility to reduce injury, and you need endurance to outlast whatever situation you're in. You know, it's kind of like falling off a horse. If you don't get back on it, that fear factor grows, you know, it just kind of multiplies. Practice for the worst so you can do your best. That's our theory. Have fun, relax, and watch one another. Tow surfing is a combination of surfing and life-saving. Majority of us all paddle surf. We can basically go into the impact zone without a machine.
If you're not paddling out there, don't even bother coming up there trying to tow in. Trying to go to college without going to high school first, you know. I personally think that paddling surfing is a better influence on your tow surfing because you're trying to handle these elements barehanded, You know, toe surfing, you can get 20 waves under your belt in a session, and paddle surfing, you're probably like around 6 if you're ripping. Paddling surfing, it's hard, and in my opinion, that's still the true measurement of a big wave rider is.
I think the true test of a waterman is paddle and surfing. It takes your experience, your training, your judgment, and your equipment, and the mind that will let you paddle into a giant wave, knowing that you're going to make it.
Some of the people in the world have a problem with toe surfing right now because of the personal watercrafts being 2 strokes. Well, first of all, it's a real misconception. The 2-stroke does pollute, no doubt, but the cleanest burning 2 strokes in the planet are personal watercrafts. Every fishing boat out there, every outboard motor that exists out there still is 10 times worse than any personal watercraft in the ocean. But that's not the future. 4 strokes will be clean burning, less noise, make as much noise as a car. The future is 4 strokes for personal watercraft.
I love paddle surfing. As long as I'm surfing, I'm stoked, no matter towing, paddling, whatnot.
You know, with paddle surfing, you rely on your own skills to your own wave judgment, to when, you know, how deep you're going to put yourself, how, you know, where you're going to go, what wave you're going to go. Within you're giving your partner the judgment of the wave, and you're saying, hey, you just choose. You put me where you would want to put yourself. And you come in from outside and you just don't know how big the wave's going to be. You feel like it's going to be a big one, but then all of a sudden, just that fast, you can be on the biggest wave of your life. Well, ultimately, I feel like if you're out in big surf, you're responsible for yourself, and if you're uncomfortable, you shouldn't be out there. If you feel like you can't swim in or save yourself, I don't believe you should be out there.
With the machines and what they give us, you know, it's now whatever the ocean can throw. That test right there, you know, where it's man against the ocean, is always going to be there. And it's always going to be the most difficult, no matter what. We're riding stuff that's 5 or 10 feet bigger than anything that's been ridden paddle surfing.
Knowing how to tow into a big wave, knowing how to position a person, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a 3-dimensional thing now. You have man, machine, and wave. Before it was 2-dimensional, it was just man and wave.
Things could go where no other machine could go, and in fact, maybe what we thought was untouchable is actually no big deal if you have one of those. A really nice jet ski can turn you into Superman in the big surf. Now, how many people are going to jump right on and go into the 30-foot surf? Not that many.
If you put yourself in a heavy situation, then you better make sure that you can get out of it without the machine, because there's people that depend on the machine. I never depend on a machine. I depend on myself.
Piahi is the Ali'i's fan, or it could be called the beacon, where a lot of things are attracted to. It attracts you, but it is not fun. It's horrifying. You come around to Maliko Gulch, you're trying to prepare yourself for life and death. You make it around the corner, you say your blessings at the lighthouse, and then you see Jaws. I call it Jaws because, you know, it was a giant monster behind my partner, and he was just a little grain of sand behind this big mouth. And if he looked back, he probably would have fainted. Jaws gets really big, it never closes out. It only gets wider and fatter. Here comes this tube at the end that is bending and spitting and throwing with this plume that goes off at 200 or 300 feet. And this big giant swells start coming right at you. You go into a different mode. You might say a prayer. You're looking at this wave. You know that it's 25, 30 feet, and it's going to be top to bottom and square. It's 30 feet. You have to calm yourself, you know, get over there in the channel, look at it for like 20, 30 minutes. Watch what's coming, watch what's not coming. All of a sudden you let go of the rope and you're being drawn onto this giant wave, and the board is flying through the air. You're doing everything you can to keep it stuck to the water. And then all of a sudden you're on this 50, 60-foot swell. Why do we do it? Only God knows those answers. Anything after 15, 18 feet is big. After 30 feet is huge. After 40 feet is the unlimited, the unridden realm. Being a big wave rider, you have to overcome the essence of fear. Knowing that it's there, you just have to kind of like put it on the side and play with it. All of a sudden, you're on the rope, your guy's towing you into the lineup, a big set is coming, you're thinking about everything you've done in your life, and what the fuck are you doing out here? Equipment is going to have to be just absolutely perfect. No flaws, no cavitation, and you will ride that wave. And if you have any equipment problems intensify under high stressful areas quickly, so you might run into something that might not make you want to surf ever again. This is supposed to be for fun. It ain't fun anymore.
To me, it is the spot to separate the men from the boys.
High surf warning continues for the northwest-facing shores of all Hawaiian islands. Surf will be 20 to 25 feet with some occasional higher tide. Residents are advised to take the necessary precautions to protect life and property. Beachgoers along the affected shores should stay out of the water and well away from the shore breaks, including hazardous wave action and rip currents.
I don't care if it's $1 million on the line. I'm not going to take a wave that I think is, trouble waiting to happen. I do feel like you're always competing in big waves, regardless of whether you're in a contest format or not. I always am trying to get the wave of the day, or the biggest tube, or the best ride of my life.
You can be the best shape in the world, and if you're not mentally prepared, you're hopeless. I'm not really into the competitive side of it. But at the same time, I'm into going into surfing jaws with 3 teams out there.
I think this contest is very important for us Brazilians. Not only for me and Carlos, but for Rodrigo too. Because we get a chance to compete against some of the best tow surfers in the world.
I really look forward to seeing what the other teams do and the performance of tow surfing, and I think it'll maybe take tow surfing to the next level. It's going to be really exciting to see this group of surfers together pushing the limits. Something that's never been done.
Competition's a lot of luck. The guy who's going to have priority, right wave comes in and has the guts to go, he's going to win. In a crowded world, sometimes a contest is the only way to control a venue. I do it for the passion. I don't do it for the money. And if you took the money away from this contest, I'd still be here.
First few years we were out there, the last thing in my mind was a contest out there. It was about freedom and being out there. It wasn't crowded and riding big waves and not having to deal with anybody or anything. It was like soulful. And now, in the last 5 years, since towing has caught on so much around the world, it seems like the time's right. There's a lot of guys that are competitive. It's a pretty ideal spot to hold a contest. With the cliff right there, you can have the judges. It's got a nice, safe channel. You can have boats on the side, and having the rescue guys right there. I think it's time that a contest can be held out there and held safely.
The contest day out, the waves were lined up nice. Good ruler edge waves. Solid 20 to 25 with possibly a couple 30-foot sets. So I'd say northwest swell, perfect north with the west bowl, made it easy to come down and challenging to ride. Heavy, a lot of fun. I wanted more. When I was done, I wanted a lot more. I'm not scared to say it was probably 30 feet on those sets. Shane Horan played tactics, went for the first one and took the second one of the two biggest waves of the day. From the back, they looked like 30-footers. When I'd say the back of the wave was 30 feet, that means the front was 60. So 60-foot face, 30-foot wave, Hawaiian style. Me and Rodrigo decided that he would go first. He got the first try, and he did great, and I was stoked. The conditions held up perfect for him. It was still real windy, but he's a madman. He'll ride anything. Felt confident putting him out there first. First wave, I put him too deep, and luckily he kicked out. I didn't even realize he kicked out, and I went chasing him down, and he wasn't there. So then the lifeguards were going, he's back out there, and I went out, and then we went right in rhythm, 3 perfect waves in a row. I went to grab him. I knew he was in trouble, so I had to get him. He got on, and the ski would not go. And I was just milking it, trying to get it to go. There's so much white water and air in the water, and the wave just engulfed me. And I stuck my feet in the straps, and I held on as hard as I could. And the wave picked me up, put me in front, and I gassed it. Rodrigo jumped off, so she had to get pounded again. Carlos and Parsons, the barrels they pulled into were just crazy. Carlos traveled for a long way in a monster, and it ate him up. I didn't get a chance to pull into one of those. I wish I did. We got third priority both heats, so we had to let the bombs go. We ended up just getting perfect medium to big waves, but they were just perfect rides from start to finish. We actually surfed, did some turns, tried to get in the barrel. After my second round, when I surfed, we got to the boat, they told us we won the first round. I knew we were up there. I knew Rodrigo did really well. I knew we were a top 3. I watched everything, and I knew who were the top teams. I knew those were the people that could beat us. Show on earth. That's what it was.
We're just scratching the surface. I mean, it's going to go a lot farther, and it's going to be really exciting to be there to watch that.
There's no place anymore. It's the whole world. We may end up in Kodiak Island. I mean, we may end up off of Greenland someday. Of course, there's South Africa, and there's Australia, and there's Tahiti and all the South Pacific islands. There's a whole southern hemisphere, opposite season to ours, that are endless with waves. Who's going to ride the next Everest? Will it be a bunch of French guys off of Canary Islands, or will it be a bunch of Hawaiian guys off of the French Frigate Shoals, or will it be a bunch of California guys, or guys from Oregon? How about the guys in South Africa, off Cape Town? How many waves exist out there that could be accessed? Where else is out there we can surf? How exotic can we go? I mean, there is no limit now. There's still a world out there to be ridden, a world past everybody's imagination. It's just the beginning.